We are live. Like everything else, we need to smooth out the kinks. So thanks everyone for their patience and welcome to the Hockey Podcast. We are live on Facebook.com, the Hockey Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey. Subscribe, of course, like us, follow us on Twitter, as I said, and as well subscribe to on Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and we also are preparing to launch a YouTube channel as well as the hockeypodcast.com. We will maybe touch on that quickly at the end of this podcast, but we have got to take a deep breath and do therapeutic conversation as the Calgary Flames lost in overtime 5-4 to the Dallas Stars, tying this series at 2. John Klingberg with the overtime winner. We have Heidi here. Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
I will not ask you how you're doing. I'm going to save that. Sean, how are you?
I'm all right. It was an interesting game to watch for sure, and I'll be very interested to see what the rest of you have to say.
Yes, I've got things to say. Matt, you will have things to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, just a few. One or two. Yeah.
All right. We will have Devin as well. Devin is here. Devin, you will have a few things to say.
Fuck.
That's one of them. Yeah.
My sentiments exactly.
I think that is the group sentiment here. So if you do have any questions, comments, we will get to that. We're going to show some heat maps about the game and the trends. We'll get into some of the stats. We got a lot of things to talk about, but I'm going to start with my rant, okay? I want to start with my rant, and then we will build from there because I know that someone's going to rant about the reffing. We'll get to that. This is my issue. I am unbelievably angry at how Jeff Ward handled the lineup in overtime. My goodness. Why on earth are you on an icing call putting out Sam Bennett, Milan Lucic, and Dylan Dubé on the ice? Put out Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, and Elias Lindholm. Put out your scorers in overtime. Dallas was doing this all the time. Every icing, it was the third line. Where in the living hell was Alan Quine, a guy that could actually score some goals? And why in the living hell are you playing Zach Ronaldo if you're not playing Zach Ronaldo?
So tell us how you really feel.
I am baffled at how they handled overtime. Baffled.
Well, you were the one that was saying that you were the one that was saying that the Gaudreau line wasn't the first line.
Johnny Gaudreau was on fire. Johnny Gaudreau was having opportunity after opportunity. You at least put out your Backlund line or your Monahan line. Why on earth are you throwing out Milan Lucic in overtime?
All right, we'll let this settle. You feel better, Kev?
Yes, I do.
All right, so
it's hard to argue there with you.
So you're saying that they shouldn't put out Sam Bennett, who had 2 goals and an assist?
If you're going to throw out Sam Bennett, you at least throw him out with Monahan or Gaudreau. Throw some sort of combination out there.
And
throw out him with Backlund. That was an opportunity to at least juggle the lines a little bit.
That's where I'm at. He should have juggled the lines because the Backlund line did not have a good game today. All of them were, other than Reeder, because of the shorthanded goal, were zeros across the board, and they were getting beat up on the shot share again. but everyone was like that. Dallas threw everything at the net except the kitchen sink today.
No, they did throw the kitchen sink. I saw a kitchen sink.
They had over 100 shot attempts, combined, throughout the game today, and it just you could tell it was starting to wear down. But yeah, I do think that they should have, even if I don't know who was out before that, but even if it was like you find a way to take a timeout, you shuffle the lines, you put Bennett with Monahan and Gaudreau, and you try and you put your players in a position to succeed. As good as that third line has been, I don't think that was the right move, and I agree with you on that one.
You're going to live or die by that kind of. You need to put out your best players. You need to live and die by your best players. If you do that, you can say to yourself, "We gave ourselves the best chance to win," and you fucking didn't. You didn't.
Well,
the lack of. I'm going to go on a rant now. Sorry, I'm revved up, ready to fucking go. I'm sick of seeing the Flames waste Talbot's starts, his performances. You're not going to get a 50 saves out of Cam Talbot every night. You're not. It's stupid. The lack of killer instinct on this team. Having a goal called back and then get another goal scored on you to tie up the game with less than a minute to go, fuck off. No, you guys need to be better.
This is the second time in this series they have allowed a goal in the last minute. They allowed the winning goal in game 2.
Yep.
So there are issues there.
You're back on your heels when you should be pressuring them. Get pucks in deep for the last 5 minutes of the game. Have play the 1-2-2 forecheck and hope for the best. But they just don't fucking have it. And when you get a gift from Corey Perry bumping in the goalie, making sure Cam Talbot can't get across, and who knows if Talbot was able to get across? I still think that was probably a goal. And you still can't fucking do it. You can't. And it baffles me to no end. And I don't know where the answer is. Johnny Gaudreau had a great game today. He had a better game today. He was better. And Sean Monahan, he played pretty decent. I don't know. There's something in that room that needs to click and needs to change, because they cannot keep on going this way and not have that killer instinct. When you're up 1 goal with 5 minutes to go, smarten up.
Well, honestly, if this team had given even just a borderline effort in game 2 and 4, we're talking about the Vegas Golden Knights and how we're prepping for them and how we swept the Dallas Stars. And throughout this series, I haven't seen Dallas be spectacularly amazing. It's the Flames have been, especially in that third period, they just took the foot off the gas and just let Dallas run roughshod over them after Reeder scored. And, that's why they got into a bit of penalty trouble in that third period. And it just kept going and going and going and going, where if they just reset themselves, they could have just ate a few of those minutes. And we're talking about going up 3-1 right now. Instead, they just take the foot off the gas, and it's been emblematic of this team basically since 2004, really, where they can't just do the normal hockey team things. You look at any team that is even moderately successful in the postseason, they do the little details throughout the playoff games. And it doesn't even matter if they were look at San Jose Sharks. They're always when they were in the playoffs in past years, they would never get very far other than that 1 year they went to the finals. But they made you earn it. And the Flames, it seems they get a little too full of themselves, and then the effort level disappears, and here's the game, have it.
Heidi, your thoughts?
My thoughts in general. I mean, I'm very sorry that I will not have a super angry rant like everyone else. I don't have anything specific to pick on other than the fact that I think that like the game should have never went to OT. Like we should have wrapped it up at that time, but we didn't. Yeah. I'm just upset, and I can't articulate the reasons why other than the fact that they lost. It should have never went to overtime. There should never have been that many shots on goal for Dallas. And they should have not taken as many penalties as they did. And we can't, like we said this last time, we can't be relying on, these shorthanded goals. Like, Tobias Rieder is not the next Johnny Gaudreau. Like, we can't be relying on that. So this was upsetting. Now that this series is now basically a best of 3. So, my hopes and dreams are feeling like they're going down the drain as to whether we're even gonna get through this series. So yeah, that's kind of is all I have to say in general.
Sean, when you have the charts or you get a chance, I would be curious to know if you can show Mark Giordano's ice time, because I want to have a conversation about him. But I know that Heidi brought up refs. I know that this is going to happen. I made a cue. Here it is.
Ref rant.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about the refereeing, now's the time to unleash about the refereeing.
Sean?
I honestly, you can blame the refs all you want. They got a shorthanded goal. Like they're for the most part, the penalty kill was really good. They took 5 penalties in a row. I think the first 2 were a little soft. Actually, no, the Talbot one was a penalty. The charging on Bennett, I think, is soft in playoff hockey. I don't think that's a penalty in playoff hockey. That's I think that's a soft call in regular season too, in my opinion. The geo hooking, Monahan high stick, and Backlund tripping were all legit penalties, though, and you can't blame them for that. Not to mention the Stars outplayed and outchanced the Flames 5-on-5 for the most part this game. I will start sharing before we go into like ice time and everything, Kev, and even the heat maps. I want to show the on Natural Stat Trick. They've got the game flow, which shows shot it. You can shows the shot attempts and how it's corresponding with between the teams. And you look at the up until about basically when it got to 2-2, for the most part the Flames had the edge, and then it just went downhill from there. The Stars took over, and yeah, you're looking. It was not good. The Flames needed more pushback, more control during the game, and more shot attempts at Khudobin, who is completely human, completely there for the taking to score more goals on him. He is not anywhere near at the top of his game. Nope. He looks like he looks like a fish out of water at times, and they're not taking advantage of it. They're not getting shots on net, getting rebounds, and getting into his grill. Because as soon as you do that, he flops on the ground and tries to snowman, and they're not doing anything to create that for them. Like, and then we'll from there we'll go to the heat map, which is a little skewed. The problem with the heat map I've realized is when you have one team just dominating everything, and you can see the blue for Dallas, where they're doing what the Flames should be doing and creating just havoc in front of the net. It doesn't look like the Flames are doing much, but if you look at it, they're still creating a little bit, and that they just need more. Get in front of Khudobin, get into his grill, and start causing havoc. Get in there, create havoc. You're going to score on him. He's like, was it? I think it was. Can't remember which goal it was. It might have been the Johnny Gaudreau one. Yeah, where he looked like he was just lying on the ice doing a snowman. Like that, and that's what he does. He flops. He tries to pull a Hasek, and he's not good at it. Like, get in his grill. Don't worry. Like, just drive. They need Bennett to do that. They need Dubé, Lucic. They need Monahan to do that. Mangiapane. Like, everyone needs to drive the net and just get in his grill. If they do that, they can win this series with 2 straight wins.
If Johnny Gaudreau hit the net on one of those 2 chances, we're having a far different conversation. That is totally. I will say that for sure. I don't think Huboden has looked very, very good in this series at all. I don't think we're going to see Ben Bishop, and that is an advantage for the Flames, but they have to start taking advantage of they got to start getting more pucks to the net, and they're not doing that as much as I think that they can, because the opportunities are there for the taking.
They are, and Gaudreau's one shot that almost went in was a great shot, and it was a good save by Khudobin. I feel like Johnny put it where he wanted to put it, tried to handcuff him, and Khudobin made probably one of his biggest saves of the night. So they need to create more traffic. Look at the majority of the goals tonight against the Flames. Traffic in front, shots from the point, and making it hard for Talbot to see. Period. So the game-winning goal, very unfortunate that Dubé broke his stick. He tried to block the shot, and I believe he completely screened Talbot. And it's one of those things where if you're going to get in front of the puck, get in front of the puck. If you don't, you need to get the hell out of the way so that Talbot can see that puck. Because I believe that if Talbot saw that from all the way out there, that wouldn't have gone in. It was a good shot, but I think Talbot would have had that.
So this is my observation. Maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm always open to correction. But I think one of the problems at Flames defense right now is, and I understand, I looked at the stats, Forbort was -3, and I get it. When you look at the stats, Forbort's stats are worse than Giordano. But at the same time, I really felt like the Dallas forwards were taking advantage specifically of Brody and Giordano. They were taking advantage of their speed. It's almost reminiscent, Sean, we talked about this last year with Colorado. We talked about how the Colorado forwards were taking advantage of Hanifin and Hamonic. I think Dallas is now taking advantage of Brody and Giordano. And this comes back to the question of how you deploy the defenseman. I thought Anderson and Hanifin were fine. I really thought Hanifin was fine tonight, actually. I thought he played a really good game. Gustafsson got hurt. That's concerning to me. I'm not saying Forbort was outstanding, but it does seem like they took advantage of Brody and Giordano. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe someone smarter than can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, I think they are a little bit. I think part of it is Dallas is a bit more of a bang and crash team, so they were able to find ways to make Gio and Brody turn and take advantage of them on the forecheck more than anything else, and then create havoc in front and work the cycle. Forbort, he struggles with that as well, but he's a little better because he's bigger and stronger. He can handle the forecheck and the cycle a little bit better than Giordano and Brody. So but that's part of playoff hockey is you figure out what you can exploit, and that's what it is. Like last year, Colorado just destroyed the Hanifin-Hamonic pair in terms of just pure speed on the transition. This time, it's Dallas is finding ways to make the Flames defense turn and make them make mistakes when they on the forecheck. So they need to move the puck quicker. They need to get to the puck and move it quicker to negate that.
And to build on that, like I think that one of the main problems that the Flames have is that their forwards are too far away from the defenseman, and they can't just fall back a bit to just be a third option. And that creates more space for the Stars to open things up and create havoc. And if the Flames were a little tighter defensively, then I think that would be would make things a lot easier. And just the amount of space that the Stars had, I think that in a similar way to the Avalanche, that they were finding the little seams that would open up, where if you just tighten things up and make them beat you one-on-one, you're going to cause turnovers and get out easily instead of having to deal with chaos basically all game.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's Gio that's bringing down that defensive pairing. I thought Brody played a decent game. It wasn't as good as his last game, but I didn't think he played bad at all. They're exploiting the fact that Gio seems to having a hard time staying on his feet. And once someone beats him, he hauled down Janmark, and which probably was a good play because there's definitely a high chance that he'd get a good shot off. But you see that multiple times, and it's his foot speed. That's what happens when you get older. You get slower, and it just doesn't seem like Gio's quite there. And looking at the ice time here, everybody seemed to be pretty damn close. 4 out of the 6 defensemen, Hannafin, TJ Brody, Giordano, and Anderson had 25.5 minutes plus. And then you had Forsberg at 21, and you had Gustafsson at 18, and almost 4 minutes of that was on the power play. So I think you need to give Gio less minutes. We were talking about this last podcast, figuring out whether or not he needs to have more or less. I think he needs less. He needs less time on the ice so that he can be as effective as he can be. He just looks tired. So I think he needs more rest. I don't think putting him out there for 28 plus minutes is smart.
Yeah, I think this is the first time I think we're really starting to see his age kind of start to catch up with him now. Maybe that he lost momentum maybe for being on that however long this break was, 4 or 5 months, it's showing, and I think that might be a good solution to give him less time. I don't know exactly maybe who exactly we move up, or if we switch pairs around, or how we exactly do that. But yeah, I think he needs less. He'd be on the ice.
Hannafin and Henderson played more 5-on-5 than Giordano and Brody today.
Yeah,
it's a couple shifts, only a couple shifts, but they did. They played. They both Anderson and Hannafin had over 20 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time today, and that says that they're starting to change it up, and they are starting to try and create another pair that they can rely on for heavier minutes than the Giordano and Brody pair.
And that's Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say that, I'm thinking that it might be even better to remove Giordano from the second power play unit and swap somebody else in, just to give him a few less minutes even there.
Who would you swap out though?
Either Anderson or, probably just Anderson. You could throw Brody in as well, just to play the passing type thing.
I think Hannafin could be a good fit there too. Quarterback in that second unit. I think it's really, this game was, you really think about the what if of having Travis Hamonic here. Not having him here is a massive loss.
This was a game that we could have, that Travis had. If there was a game that we just realized we missed Travis Hamonic, this was the game for sure.
I missed him last game. I started missing him
Who do you take out though? Is it Brody? Because you're not taking out Gustafsson. He's your number one power play quarterback. You're not taking out Hannafin or Anderson. You're not taking out Gio. What are you replacing Hamonic with Forsberg?
I think that you would probably dress 7 defensemen and have Gustafsson just fill in a little bit on the fourth line in Klein's spot or something, and just have him as the power play guy. You played Zach Ronaldo 7 minutes and 10 seconds. He did get 6 hits, but he did absolutely nothing else. So there's no indication to me that you're playing. There's no real good reason that you're playing Zach Ronaldo. So I do agree with Matt to go at 11-7 wouldn't be a bad thing.
Has Gustafson played that role before? Because if you we're all in hypothetical mode at this point, but if you listen to Kevin Bieksa, he says that 7 defense is a dog's breakfast. You don't know who, it's just whoever is the one defenseman or 2 defensemen or 3 defensemen who aren't getting the regular shift do not feel like they're in the zone. And I think if you make Gustafson do that, then you're creating a spot where he's not going to feel sharp and in the zone when he's required to be right on his game on the power play, where that can be a game changing spot.
I would going back to Sean's original comment, I would take out forward. The only reason why I say that is because they're similar defensemen, but Hamonic has better legs than Forbort does. You saw it a couple times where Forbort, I think he was in OT or it was in the second period. It was when they had the longer change, and you could see him trying to skate as hard as he could, but it's like he's trying to run underwater, and it's not that effective. So that's what I would take out. And I agree. If you're not having a regular shift, it's gonna be hard to get yourself in the game and get yourself ready to go when you need to be going. So as far as fucking Ronaldo goes, get him the fuck out of this lineup, for the love of God. Those 6 hits were generous, I think. I did not his forecheck. There is nothing there, and that's the reason why you're on the 4th line, to create energy, to bang and crash, and to hit everything that you can see. Period.
No, honestly, throw Buddy in there.
Exactly.
Thank you. I want to start a hashtag Play Buddy. Play Buddy.
Play our buddy, please.
I don't see why he wouldn't have been a factor in this game.
No, and especially the Flames team having so many smaller-ish forwards, having a guy who's like 6'5" and fast and can throw hits would be a dimension that the team just doesn't have.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. So what else do we need to talk about with this game? I feel like we went all over the map here. And then I started with my explosive rant.
As I said, I think it's just the Flames need to find a way to get in Hudobin's face, get in between the hash marks, right at the top of the crease, and start getting into his face and making him worry about them. Because every time they've done that, they've created havoc and almost scored, if not scored. Yeah. They just don't do it enough. And if they do that, they can win 2 games here and win this in 6. If they don't, then I think they're in trouble, because the Stars are starting to gain steam.
Yeah.
You got 3 goals from Pavelski. You had 2 points from Sagan. The Stars' top players, the Stars are being stars. They are. You live and die by your top players in playoffs, and the Stars have their top players going now.
Yeah. Did Mangiapane get hurt?
I'm beginning to wonder if both Eatbread and Lindholm aren't hurt, because they've been bad a lot lately.
I think Mangiapane disappeared for a little bit and then came back.
Just he played less than Dubé.
Mangiapane had the outside of the 4th line. He had the second least amount of ice time, 5-on-5 for the top 9. Him and Reeder were both under 14 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time.
Yeah,
Well, Bennett was up almost at 16, almost at 17. Lucic was the same. They're 16:46. Monahan and Dubé were up over 17 minutes, as was Gaudreau. So yeah, there might be an issue there. Lindholm, where is he? He was at 14:34. So it looks like they might be sheltering them a little bit comparative to the other players.
Maybe
you need to be, if Lindholm's healthy, you need to be playing him a hell of a lot more. As far as that second line goes, I saw that Quine got a couple looks up there. And I would actually like that better than having Reeder up there. Nothing wrong with having Reeder on that second line with Backlund and Mangiapane, but I feel like Quine, you started noticing him a bit more. You could tell that he was getting comfortable playing hockey again and playing in the series. So I would like to see Quine on that second line and put Reeder back down to that fourth with Ryan, because they seem like they have a bunch of chemistry. And if you put Buddy Robinson with them on the fourth line, I think that'd be a dynamic fourth line.
And I don't think they're playing Derek Ryan enough. I understand it. I understand what they're trying to do, but I think that there's room to. Derek Ryan, to me, is a guy that he's a Swiss Army knife. You can put him on a wing for a couple of shifts. You can play him in different situations. And when he was out there, yes, he was mostly killing penalties, but he was effective. And I do think they need more Derek Ryan.
This is where I think Jeff Ward needs to step up big time in terms of shuffling lines and be willing to go with pairs. You keep Johnny and Monty together, and you can throw Bennett on there. You can throw Lindholm on there. You can throw Ryan on there. You can throw Dylan Dubé on there. And then same, like, you've got Backlund and Mangiapane, and same thing. Rotate those wingers through and see what works. See what you can figure. See what you can get going. See if you can start create. You can somehow luck yourself into a line that can create some more offense and more havoc in front of the net, and use players like Derek Ryan, like Sam Bennett, like Toby Reeder. Like, you got to find ways to use them in other ways other than just sticking with the lines that you have.
I'd almost like to see Buddy up with Gaudreau and Monahan for a few shifts, because Gaudreau and him have some chemistry for playing all those years that might be just something to shake everything up a little bit and give a different look.
John,
did you listen to our last podcast, Matt?
No.
Oh.
I was busy digging, so it was exciting.
You sound like a very smart man. Very smart.
Very smart. We may have said things like that already. Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody actually think that Jeff Ward's going to actually do that?
Probably not.
I don't know. Like, I think that we could say that all we want, but I can't see Jeff Ward doing it. Like, we're now like nervous about whether we're gonna win the next game or not. So like whether he's gonna take risks or not. But I I agree with you guys. Like, I think we absolutely need to. I would love to see Buddy Robinson in there, but I have no faith anymore.
Yeah, well, we know we're going to see Mark Jankowski before we see Buddy Robinson. We know that.
Why did you say that?
Because you brought up that we're not anyone believe that this is going to happen.
I feel like we'll still see Zach Ronaldo in there more than we'd still see Jankowski come back.
Probably. I would see if Ward is going to make a move, he'll take out Ronaldo and put in Jankowski. I don't see it going any other way. I mean, he's playing. It's either you play it safe because he's playing for his job right now, and it's either he's going to play it safe or he's going to try and do something. And I love to see them try to do something instead of just playing it safe. Playing it safe. What is Gagne so far? It's Gagne back in, like, not losing the series, but it feels like it. It feels like we're losing the series.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I feel like we're losing this. Like, we didn't lose 5-0 like the Philly did the other day, but like I still feel like we're losing, especially these last two games, because Talbot's been stealing the games.
Yep, and you're not going to have that an outing like that every single night, or the past two games. You're not going to get that every night with Talbot. You're not. He gave us a chance to win, and Calgary decided to just
not show up.
This was Cam Talbot's best game of the series, probably the playoffs.
It was probably Cam Talbot's best game, even when he was playing with the Oilers. This was probably his best game, period.
He made a couple absolutely just, like, really subtly spectacular saves. I can't remember who made the shot, but he was Cam Talbot was going left to right, left from left post to right post, and they shot across the grain, and he had to make a
It was Gurionov.
reflex toe save, and that was insane. That was such a good save.
Yeah.
And like you can't. There's a couple of the goals you can't even blame.
No.
Like, Kevin was you were thinking about saying that Talbot should have had the second Pavelski goal, but that when you see that the angle that I think it was Hockey Night in Canada's or Sportsnet's main account shared on Twitter, you can see that it was It was an absolutely perfect shot, just above the pad. So and then so it's below the blocker. That's such a hard shot to save by a goaltender, and it was like. And then the Gurionov one was an absolute just blast snipe. Like that's those two. And then there's a bunch of like otherwise like I don't put any of them on Talbot.
No,
that was his. This was a fantastic game from Cam Talbot.
Yep. And going back to the original, what kind of got us onto Talbot, but it feels like we're losing this series, and Jeff Ward needs to be coaching like we're losing this series. He needs to be coaching like this is the last fucking game, period. And it showed with Kevin's rant at the beginning. Fantastic rant, by the way, Kev. I love it. You got to live and die by your best players and the players that got you there, period. And if you don't, the upper management, the upper brass might see that and take it into account when they're thinking about potentially bringing you back for a full year behind the bench, or you go down, or you get fired, or you get demoted. So coaching is a big part of it, and just once again, lack of killer instinct fires me up.
Yeah, well, especially like you see other teams that aren't that great, and yet like they don't have these issues like the Flames have. You're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. And like it's like you should be able to, like, it's not that complicated to pay attention to details and play well defensively when you've got a lead, and like the little things on how to actually burn a clock. Like it's not that complicated, and yet this team just can't seem to. It's like a Rubik's Cube, and they're colorblind, and trying to figure out how to do it, and like they just can't. And it's just so frustrating.
It's the mental lapses that are killing us.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Flames don't get past this round, there's no way they keep Jeff Ward. And
oh no! And you're talking like major structural changes. Like you can't.
I think one of the big ones is that who they bring in is going to be a real tactical coach, and you need that. Someone like a Barry Trotz. Because Matt, you were talking about teams that don't necessarily have the skill, don't feel like good teams.
Yeah.
That's what Columbus and the Islanders come right to mind.
Yeah, exactly. The Islanders is exactly who I was thinking of.
Like if you got Matt Barzal and a bunch of
miscellaneous.
Yeah, like it's but they Barry Trotz and John Tortorella know how to teach the details and know how to ingrain and get buy-in on playing those details, and that's what the Flames need right now. And if they don't get it, and they don't get it in the next 2 days, they're in real trouble here.
Well, give some credit to Carolina as well. I know they have some upper talent like Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov, who are top end players in this league. But Rod Brindamore is another coach that he's structurally sound too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, he needs to just go onto the bench without his shirt on. Solves everything. By the way, Mike Milbury and Jack Edwards are apes. They're just apes. They're apes. That's the best way that I will describe them.
The Milbury comments, I'll throw a little bit of defense towards him. He didn't need to say them. You could tell he was trying to be as delicate as possible. But Jack Edwards is an absolute moron who just wants to spew words for the sake of spewing words. Like, he's an absolute moron. I hate him. I hate him. Like, he's an absolute asshole, and he knows it, and he plays it up, and then he acts, but he doesn't answer for it.
Yeah.
Now, could you guys share for any listeners who might not know what you're talking about?
Okay, so Mike Milbury yesterday, when Tuukka Rask announced that he was stepping out of the bubble, his comment on NBC was basically, in a nutshell, that no other NHL player would have done it, and he kind of, I don't know, I think he kind of threw him under the bus a little bit, kind of called him soft. He was trying to be delicate about it. I guess he was trying to be careful, but he was being Mike Milbury about it. What Jack Edwards during the Boston-Carolina game when Svechnikov, and I butchered his name because I'm all flustered, but Jack Edwards basically tweeted out that when you mess with Zdeno Chara, you poke the bear, you deserve what you get. And it wasn't even like Svechnikov that Chara hit. It was Aho. It's not even the right player. He's just, Jack Edwards has said so many stupid things over the year. Go on YouTube and watch the Boston-Tampa line brawl where he goes and calls Patrick Maroon and says, you want to go to the afterlife? Chara's going to send you to the afterlife. And then Maroon knocked him out. Like, he's an idiot. He is an absolute idiot.
Yeah, and we need less of those two and more of Kevin Bieksa, more of Anthony Stewart, more of Cassie Campbell, like more of Colby Armstrong. People who like think about what they say and know when they can and can't say something, just know when that you can and can't say anything. And yeah, it's just one thing I do want to dig into on the Milbury comment is I don't necessarily think he was trying to throw Tuukka Rask under the bus, but he did. I don't think he was necessarily trying to like make Rask feel bad, but he probably did. But one thing he did bring up, I think needs to be talked about is Boston's never really accepted Tuukka Rask.
No.
They love Tim Thomas. And then Rask was just this replacement, even though he's been fantastic for them. And because Tuukka Rask is a bit of an odd cat, and I don't think
he's a goalie. They're all nuts.
They are. But for some reason, the Boston fans never really felt attached to Tuukka Rask. So that's where I think Milbury felt like he could make those comments, but they were wrong.
And by the way, he deleted it because I can't find it anymore.
Well, no, Milbury?
Yeah.
Milbury's on air.
Milbury's comments were quote unquote, nobody simply opted to leave the bubble just because they didn't want to be here and they need to be with their family. I would have not done it. The rest of the league's players have not done it. And that's kind of the nutshell of it.
Yeah.
There's lots of he never actually. You listen to the word. I think he chose his words really, really well. But in terms of, there's some insinuation in there, and as opposed to just saying supporting Tuukka Rask, is family and mental health come first. Do not forget that family and mental health come first before anything. And the fact that you can't, he's not supporting Tuukka Rask in that aspect says everything to me.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the old school mentality.
Yeah, and his reputation speaks for itself too. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, wish you would a fan. He signed Alexei Yashin to a 10-year contract. They're still paying Alexei Yashin and Rick DiPietro. He traded Trevor Linden for Todd Bertuzzi and Brian McCabe.
Mm-hmm.
Complete idiot. Yep.
Anything else we want to get into before we sign off?
I think Heidi wanted Devin and I to kind of look at Sam Bennett's beard and critique and talk about how well groomed he is with it. Because all other NHL players seem to have just scruffy, it's everywhere. The Elliot Friedman of beards, where it's everywhere, not groomed properly. But Sam Bennett seems to know what to do. But
I have context for what I want to hear. Why I want to hear from both of these guys. because they're probably both going to get embarrassed when I say that they both there's a whole thing with like involving like apple cider vinegar and oils and waxes, and so I wanted commentary on how, because I always notice now, and I think I just noticed this from between dating Sean and being friends with Devin and the type of people I'm friends with, like I notice a good like well-groomed beard. And so I noticed that with Sam Bennett. So I just wanted the people who seem to be the experts on it to weigh in.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on beards. I'm not gonna lie. At all.
He definitely knows what's going on. That mustache is on point. Beautifully shaped beard all the way around. You know he takes care of it. He's not a Brett Burns or a Joe Thornton or Elliot Friedman type of beard, but which is good, and it's good to see that he likes it as much as he does. Because yes, I do use apple cider vinegar to clean my beard. I do. So little tip for everybody. All right. So what you do is you damp your beard, you damp it in, and then you pour in the apple cider vinegar, scrub it into your not just your beard, but your skin. And it changes the pH of the skin so it's not irritable, and it makes your a healthy skin and a good looking healthy skin equals good hair. So you leave it in there for about 5 minutes, do it out, or you wash it out, and then if you want to, you can do it again. And you know what? It costs $8 for a big thing of apple cider vinegar. And you know what? Yeah, it smells, but that's why you have beard oil. And that's what you do after, is you put the beard oil into a damp beard, make it smell good. Oh, yeah, there's nothing like a good beard. And the amount of times that I've saw somebody who has a similar beard as me or has a good beard, him and I lock eyes, and we do like the head nod thing, be like, nice.
Yeah, what Devin told me about that a couple months ago, and I've been doing that pretty regularly as well. I've added that to my beard regime. Beards are something you can't just grow and leave alone. It's like a garden. You gotta tend to it. You gotta let it. You gotta give it a little tender love and care to make sure that it looks good. And Sam Bennett definitely does that. And I love his mustache.
Yeah.
I love that he definitely throws a little product in, some mustache wax to shape it and make it nice and curly on the end. It looks good.
Yeah,
sure
pulling the Lanny out there.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's gotten some good tips from Lanny.
Yeah.
Well, Lanny's apparently like full on endorsed him with having that, so that's good. Yeah, I did notice even like for some reason, like at the end of the game, Sam Bennett's like facial hair still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been sweating and it still looks good. Like,
If someone's smart enough, listen, Tommy Guns or some sort of barber wants to sponsor him, you got it. It looks fantastic. You have to.
Yeah, there's not many like players that grow a big bushy beard that take care of it properly. Sam Bennett's one of them. The other one is on the Canucks, Jordy Ben. Like, look a picture up of him. He makes sure his beard is nicely shaped and taken care of, even when he's on the ice. It looks good.
How about that one guy that's with the Utica Comets? What's that guy's name? He has a massive beard. It's beautiful.
Oh, that was last year. Colton Saucerman.
Oh, look up Colton Saucerman. And first of all, probably the best name in hockey, period. Colton Saucerman. You kidding me? And an amazing beard to top it. And
I'll pull it up for those on watching the video. His beard is like.
I'm trying to pull up I'm trying to get the Sam Bennett picture up here. Sorry, I'm having issues doing that.
Okay, we're getting the. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think what was missing is we needed a diagram here. You know, he puts the apple cider right over here, and
So I will add to that, and I think you guys already alluded to this. Like, after you put the apple cider vinegar in and rinse it out and stuff, definitely put beard oil in after, because otherwise you smell like a fucking salad. And like, he smells like salad unless you remember
It's very true. Yes, it's very true. If you don't take care of it afterwards, Let's just do it this way. There you go. Look at that beautiful beard.
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Like, man, nothing better. I was really, Sean messaged me saying that he was going to be playing for the Utica Comets, and I for the entire year, my fingers were crossed that he would get called up.
But one of the best names ever. Yeah. And then he's got this just gigantic burly beard, and and he's a ginger too. So it's fantastic.
It's so good.
So what I'm hearing here is just the COVID quarantine beard. What I'm hearing from you guys is there's no excuse for the COVID quarantine beard. There are ways to have a good beard during pandemic times.
100%. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I have a beard straightener, and it is amazing.
Yes,
amazing. It really helps just shape it all together, and it's not going to be big and wildly on the outside. And so if you guys have a big beard or want beard comments, message Sean and me, and we can steer you in the right direction for product, regiments, everything that you need. So
I'll throw out a plug for a local Calgary business that during the pandemic delivered. Kent of Inglewood. That's how I got all my product when everything was shut down. They delivered right to the door, and it was fantastic. But yeah, beard straightener is good. Even if you have, use your girlfriend's hair dryer. Yeah. And just comb it out. That works almost as good as the as a beard straightener. But save up for a beard straightener. I'm currently hoping to get one soonish. But look up on YouTube, figure out how to do it. There's lots of good stuff on there to make sure that your beard looks good.
This was probably the best way to end this podcast because probably. God, I was fucking bitter coming into it. But talking about good, healthy beards has lifted my spirits.
Yeah. Can we put the Sam, as we close off here, can we have the Sam Bennett beard at least on as we are wrapping up here? I think maybe I tried to get it on my screen. I'm trying to get it as my screen background, and it's not computing right now for some reason or another.
I do appreciate that Johnny Gaudreau in your background picture is at least trying. Genetically not possible for him to actually grow a proper one, but
I'm one that I prefer no beard for me. That's just me. So don't come to me for beard advice. I'll just send you to Devin and Sean. That's all I'm going to do. Yeah.
We can't find a good, there's all the ones that we're seeing on the internet, there's the mustache is not quite out or the beard's not quite out.
Well, we'll find one and we'll tweet it out as soon as we find one. How about that?
All right. So just quickly to update us, we will be back tomorrow morning, Monday morning, to recap a game. We are assuming at this point that the Canucks and the St. Louis Blues will play tonight. That is not a guarantee because as we are recording, the Blackhawks and Golden Knights are scheduled to start between 4 and 4:30 Pacific time, 4:36, 7. It's probably going to be around 9:30 Edmonton time. I think that we're going to see Vancouver St. Louis is my prediction. So
yeah, this Vegas Chicago game goes long. They'll have to figure something out. I think what they'll do, I talked about this on Twitter with a few people, is that they'll just tack on a game at the end because they've got a game tomorrow as well. Game 4, what was scheduled as game 4 will just become game 3, and they'll continue on.
Right. Yeah. You could do that. That's true. So we will tweet out and Facebook out when we're doing the next Canucks live one. We have scheduled one for tomorrow morning, depending on the game, but depending on things that may change. So keep an eye out that we will be back. Tuesday is game 5. The time of that game is going to depend also on the Chicago-Vegas game, because if Vegas wins, that series is over. So that may be a different time. So the reality is we'll be back. We just don't know when. That's how. And we do have our new website, hockeypodcast.com. We do have our first post from our referee. Tyler has posted his thoughts so far around the first round. We'll be having some other stuff. And we also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com, the Hockey Podcast. We will be
where you can see Devin get very upset about a Leafs joke.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And so anything else that we need to chat about or bring up?
Oh, you can follow me on Twitter at BeardyCanuck03.
Oh, I forgot. How do we follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at BeardyCanuck03.
Go ahead, everyone.
You can follow me everywhere on social media at Heidi.
You can follow me on Twitter at Gaudreau09.
Fireside Podcast and Matt Duborg on Twitter.
And KEVOLE, Tyler's T Noble, TNOBLE, Chris's Schneids, SCHNEIDZ, podcast _hockey. Like us or follow us on Facebook. And thank you for the number of people that have been following us. Shout out to all of you that have been doing that. We really appreciate it. Thank you for that. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Until we talk again, thank you everyone for listening. We will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.